Room service. At 23, Emery Diaz didn't have her life figured out. She'd never imagined herself as the porter at a ritzy 5-star hotel in downtown Portland, but here she was. The Evergreen Hotel catered to the world's elite, a playground for politicians, CEOs, and celebrities alike. Emery's job was to be invisible, to help guests without being noticed, to make everything smooth and seamless. On an unusually sunny afternoon, a sleek black SUV pulled up to the front entrance. Emery's gaze shifted from the clipboard she held to the car door. She was about to meet someone big. The door swung open, and Marley Fox, international pop sensation and heartthrob, stepped out. Her brown skin glowed under the sun, her jet-black curly hair framing her face like a halo. She was taller than Emery had imagined, dressed in an effortless combination of ripped jeans, an oversized black leather jacket, and a white crop top that clung to her toned frame. Emery blinked. Marley Fox? Here? She'd seen her face plastered on billboards and magazines, but never expected to see her in person. She quickly snapped back to reality, straightening her posture and offering a professional smile. "Welcome to the Evergreen, Ms. Fox," Emery said, tipping her hat. She opened the car door wider and held it as Marley exited the vehicle with a grace that could only belong to a star of her magnitude. Marley's eyes met Emery's, and for a moment, the air seemed to thicken between them. The singer smiled, soft and genuine. "Thanks." "Emery," she read the name tag aloud, and something in her voice sent a shiver down Emery's spine. "It's my pleasure, Ms. Fox," Emery replied, hoping the heat rising to her cheeks wasn't as obvious as it felt. She'd been trained for moments like this, but her professional demeanor was crumbling under Marley's magnetic gaze. Over the next few days, Emery couldn't help but notice Marley Fox more than the other guests. She was staying for a week in the penthouse suite, and every time Emery saw her, it felt like Marley was looking for her too. She'd flash Emery a smile that lingered a second too long or ask for Emery specifically to assist her. One afternoon, as Emery was walking through the hotel lobby, she spotted Marley sitting at the bar, her eyes locking onto her like a predator spotting its prey. Marley waved Emery over. "Hey Emery," Marley greeted, her voice smooth and sultry. "Do you have a minute?" Emery's heart pounded in her chest. "Ah yeah. Of course. How can I assist you, Ms. Fox?" Marley smirked, leaning in closer, her lips curving into a mischievous smile. "First of all, call me Marley. Second, I've been dying to get out of here for a bit. Feel like showing me around the city." Emery froze. Was Marley Fox asking her to hang out? I don't know if I'm allowed to do that," Emery stammered, though the thought of spending time with Marley was tempting. "Very tempting. Come on," Marley urged, her smile widening as she leaned in a little closer. "No one has to know. I just want to see the real Portland, not the tourist spots." Emery bit her lip, torn between following the rules and the sheer thrill of breaking them with someone as captivating as Marley. After a long pause, she nodded. "Okay. I get off in an hour." Marley grinned, her eyes gleaming. "I'll be waiting." An hour later, Emery found herself walking through downtown Portland with Marley by her side. The sun was beginning to set, casting a golden glow over the city. Marley was relaxed, her cool demeanor contrasting with Emery's nervous excitement. They talked about everything: music, life, Marley's struggle with fame, and Emery's uncertainty about her future. Marley listened intently, her attention unwavering. Emery couldn't believe how easy it was to talk to her, how down-to-earth she seemed, despite her superstar status. As they reached a quiet corner of the city, overlooking the waterfront, Marley stopped and turned to Emery, her expression serious. "You know," Marley said, her voice soft, "I don't get to do this often. Be with someone who treats me like a person, not a brand." Emery swallowed hard, her heart beating fast. I didn't expect you to want to spend time with me." Marley smiled, stepping closer. "Why not? You're interesting, Emery. And beautiful." She reached out, tucking a loose strand of hair behind Emery's ear. Emery's breath hitched, her heart racing as Marley's fingers lingered against her skin. She didn't know what to say, but she didn't need to. Marley closed the distance between them, her lips brushing against Emery's in a soft, tentative kiss. The world seemed to fade away, leaving only the warmth of Marley's lips against hers, the feel of Marley's hands on her waist, pulling her closer. Emery melted into the kiss, her hands sliding up to Marley's neck, deepening the connection between them. When they finally pulled away, both of them breathless, Marley smiled, her forehead resting against Emery's. "I've wanted to do that since I saw you," she whispered. Emery's head spun, her heart fluttering. "Me too." They stood there in the golden light of the setting sun, holding each other close, the city bustling around them, but for Emery, there was nothing else in the world except Marley Fox, the girl who had made her feel seen, who had kissed her like she was the only thing that mattered. Whatever happened next, Emery knew one thing: she would never forget this moment. Title: One Night at the Driftwood. Chapter 2. The bed is warm, and we're lying so close that I can feel every inch of blue against me. The soft glow of the city lights filters through the curtains, painting delicate shadows on her bare skin. Her hand finds mine between the sheets, and I feel a small squeeze, as if she's reminding me that this isn't some fantasy. This is real, she's real, and she's right here beside me. For a while, we lie there in a comfortable silence, our breaths syncing up, the sounds of the city humming faintly in the background. The soft scent of her perfume, something floral and crisp, mingles with the warmth of the room, wrapping me in an almost dreamlike state. I trace my fingertips across her collarbone, down to her arm, and she shivers slightly in response, smiling that quiet, secret smile of hers. "You're thinking too much," she whispers, her voice low, almost husky. I laugh softly, embarrassed at how easily she reads me. "How could you tell? You're so quiet. It's cute." She turns her head to face me, her eyes glowing softly in the dim light. "What are you thinking about?" "Everything, I want to say. The impossibility of this moment, how surreal it feels to be here with her. How even the faintest touch of her skin sends tingles up my spine. But instead, I give her the answer that feels closest to the truth. You." She tilts her head slightly, her red hair spilling over the pillow like fire. "Good answer." Her gaze softens as she studies me, and for the first time, I notice a vulnerability behind those dark eyes. She's always seemed so put together, so strong, but now, here in this intimate bubble we've created, I can see the cracks in her armor, the same cracks I saw earlier today when she mentioned the loneliness of her life. "I was worried you wouldn't come," she says after a beat, her fingers brushing gently over my knuckles. "Why?" I ask, surprised. "Your blue rivers. You could have anyone. Why would you worry about me?" Her smile falters for a second, and she looks away, as if the question has hit closer to home than I intended. Because, sometimes, even when you have everything, it still feels like something's missing. I don't know, maybe that sounds ridiculous. "No, it doesn't," I murmur, my heart squeezing in my chest. She shifts, turning to face me fully. "I've been doing this for so long, Tess. This whole celebrity thing. There's always someone wanting something from me. It's exhausting. But you're different. You're real. And I guess I didn't want to lose that." I blink, letting her words sink in. My heart pounds in my ears, and for the first time, I feel a strange sense of responsibility, like she's given me a piece of herself that she doesn't share with anyone else. "I'm not going anywhere," I whisper, my voice almost a promise. Her eyes lock onto mine, searching, as if she's trying to determine whether I mean it. And maybe I do. Maybe for the first time in my life, I found something, or someone, that feels right, something I don't want to let slip away. I'm glad, she whispers back, her voice thick with emotion. There's a pause, a heartbeat where time seems to stretch between us. And then she leans in again, kissing me slowly, her lips soft but firm against mine. It's a tender kiss, not rushed or heated like before, but deep and meaningful, as if she's pouring everything she's too afraid to say into this one moment. When we pull apart, she rests her forehead against mine, her fingers threading through my hair. I can feel the steady thrum of her pulse beneath my palm, and for a brief moment, it feels like our hearts are beating in sync. You make me feel normal, she admits, her breath warm against my skin. Like I can just be Blue, not the actress, not the public figure. Just me. I brush a strand of hair behind her ear, smiling softly. I like just Blue. She chuckles, a soft, quiet sound that makes my chest ache with how much I want to stay in this moment forever. I pull her closer, letting my hand trace lazy patterns on her back, feeling the warmth of her skin under my fingertips. It's strange, how natural this feels. Like we've known each other for years instead of just a few days. Maybe it's the way she looks at me, like I'm the only person in the world who matters, or maybe it's the way we seem to fit together so perfectly, as if we were always meant to find each other. Her fingers brush over my arm, and I shiver again at her touch. She tilts her head, watching me carefully. Are you cold? She asks softly, concern flickering across her face. No, I whisper, just happy. She smiles at that, a real, genuine smile that makes my heart flutter in my chest. I haven't felt this in a long time, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. I thought I'd forgotten what it felt like to be close to someone. I swallow the lump in my throat, my fingers tightening slightly around hers. You deserve to feel this. Her eyes soften, and for a moment, neither of us says anything. We just lie there, wrapped in each other, the quiet hum of the city below us fading into the background. And then she lets out a soft sigh, her breath tickling the hair at the nape of my neck. I don't want this to end, she murmurs, her voice so quiet that I almost don't hear her. I press a kiss to her shoulder, feeling the warmth of her skin against my lips. It doesn't have to. She pulls back slightly, her gaze locking onto mine. You mean that? I nod, feeling my heart race in my chest. I mean it. She studies me for a long moment, her eyes searching mine as if she's looking for some hidden truth. And then she smiles, soft, sweet, and so full of hope that it makes my chest tighten. Okay, she whispers, leaning in to kiss me again, her lips lingering against mine. Okay. And just like that, everything feels right. Chapter 3, Sunlight. The morning sun spills through the window, its soft, golden rays illuminating the room in a hazy glow. I blink awake slowly, feeling the warmth of Blue pressed against me, her arm draped lazily over my waist. For a moment, I lie there, trying to process everything that happened last night, how real it all felt, how close we became in just a few hours. I don't want to move. I don't want to break the fragile beauty of this moment. Her breathing is steady, her face peaceful as she sleeps. I take a minute to memorize her like this, vulnerable and so different from the confident, dazzling actress the world knows. It's Blue, just Blue, the girl I met in a bookstore, who laughed over coffee and shared quiet moments with me under the stars. I carefully turn in her arms, trying not to wake her, but as I shift, her eyes flutter open. She blinks, adjusting to the sunlight, and then, a sleepy smile spreads across her face as she meets my gaze. Morning, she whispers, her voice rough from sleep but warm and tender, like it's just for me. Morning, I whisper back, smiling at her. She stretches slightly, her hand brushing over my hair, her fingers gentle as they tangle in the strands. You stayed, she says softly, her voice carrying a hint of disbelief. I nod, my heart swelling with a strange kind of joy. Of course I did. Her eyes search mine for a moment, and then she laughs softly, almost to herself, as if she's relieved. She leans in, pressing a soft kiss to my forehead before resting her head against my chest. I wrap my arms around her, pulling her closer, and we lie there in the quiet of the morning, listening to each other's heartbeats. The city is waking up outside, the distant sounds of traffic and life buzzing faintly in the background. But in here, in this room, it feels like time has slowed down just for us. I don't want this to end, she whispers again, echoing her words from last night, but this time, there's a softness in her voice, a vulnerability that makes my chest tighten. It doesn't have to, I reply, brushing my lips against her hair. She lifts her head slightly, her eyes locking onto mine. But what happens when I go back to LA? When life gets in the way? For a moment, I hesitate. The reality of our situation looms over us, but I can't bring myself to let go of the sweetness of this moment. I don't want to think about what comes next, I just want to be here with her right now. I don't know, I admit softly, but we'll figure it out. Her gaze softens, and she smiles, that quiet, hopeful smile that always makes my heart skip a beat. Yeah, we will. She kisses me then, slow, tender, like she's savoring every second. And I let myself melt into her, into the warmth of her lips, the softness of her touch, the feeling of her heart beating against mine. When we pull apart, she rests her forehead against mine, her fingers tracing the outline of my jaw. Maybe it doesn't have to be complicated, she says softly, almost as if she's thinking out loud. Maybe it can just be simple. Simple. I ask, a small smile tugging at the corners of my mouth. Yeah, she murmurs, her eyes sparkling with that familiar playful glint. Just two people who really like each other, figuring it out as they go. I laugh softly, the sound filling the quiet room. I think I could handle that. She grins, her eyes crinkling at the corners, and my heart flutters in my chest. Good. Because I really like you, Tess. And I'm not ready to let that go. The words hang between us, and I can feel the weight of them settling over my heart. I cup her cheek in my hand, brushing my thumb gently over her skin. I really like you too, Blue. For a moment, neither of us says anything. We just lie there, wrapped up in each other, the warmth of the morning sun spilling over us like a promise of something good. Something real. Eventually, she sighs, her head resting back on the pillow. You know, she says, her voice teasing, I was planning on making you breakfast, but I think I might just stay in bed a little longer. I laugh, the sound light and easy, and I nuzzle into her neck, pressing a kiss to her collarbone. I'm not complaining. She giggles, her arms tightening around me, and we fall into a comfortable silence again, the kind that comes with knowing you're exactly where you're meant to be. After a while, though, I feel her shift beside me, and I prop myself up on my elbow to look at her. What? I ask, my voice soft. She tilts her head, watching me with that playful smile again. Do you want to run away with me? I blink, caught off guard by the sudden question. Run away? Yes, she says, her eyes twinkling with mischief. Let's just leave. No paparazzi, no red carpets, no expectations. Just you, me, and the open road. I can't help but laugh at the absurdity of it, but at the same time, something about it sounds perfect. Where would we go? Anywhere, she says, her voice soft but full of excitement. Anywhere we want. For a moment I picture it, us driving down an empty highway, the wind in our hair, no destination in mind, just the two of us and the world stretched out before us. It feels so impossible, yet somehow with her, it feels like it could be real. I think I'd like that, I say, my heart swelling with the thought of it. She grins, pulling me into her arms again. Good. Because I think I'd like it too. We lie there for a long time, wrapped up in each other, the morning sun casting a golden glow over everything. And in that moment, it feels like we have all the time in the world, like the future doesn't matter, because right now, this is enough. We are enough. And maybe that's the sweetest part of it all. The end.